Yo, what's up guys, and welcome to a brand new video and a brand new series over on the channel with the lead up to FIFA 20. We've got a few different sort of things running. If you guys haven't already, do feel free to check out the previous series I did, which is 0 to 1 million in 7 days over on FIFA 20, and it's basically my tips and tricks on how to hit 1 million in the first week over on FIFA 20. But we're underway with a brand new series, and this series that we're going to be running with is going to be when to buy on FIFA 20. Now what this is going to be is not when to go and buy FIFA 20, it is when to go and buy a specific type of player on FIFA 20. The reason I quite like this series is because obviously there's a lot of casuals out there who haven't the foggiest when players are going to be the cheapest. Obviously it's given that kind of players are the cheapest the earlier you buy them on FIFA, but they can be specific windows where it's best to buy them because maybe they'll like startle out, or you know, there's different things that are not too easy just to go and pick up. So what this series is going to be is we're going to go and cover loads and loads and loads of different sort of areas of the market, and when is the cheapest time to buy it. Now, you know, we could be going from people buying teams on the early access to the full game to basically when is the best time to buy in the first, you know, potentially 3 months if you want to do it like that. But we'll give you loads and loads of different buy dates and loads of different dates you probably want to sell your players by, because that's when they dropped off. And what we'll be doing is we'll basically be grabbing a bunch of data. I think we're going to be doing 10 players per episode. As I say, each episode is going to be on something completely different. So if you're interested in buying icons, there'll be an episode for you. If you're interested in buying Martials and Gabriel Jesus's and just meta golds and, you know, running Beast FC teams, there'll be an episode for you. And hopefully that'll make it very easy for you guys, as I'll give you a buy date when it was, again, all data is obviously running off of last year. I'll be using footbin graphs and so on. But yeah, hopefully it'll basically condense the mare at the beginning of the game of when to buy teams, when should I buy this much, how much should I buy him for. Hopefully it'll help you guys and just give you a date, say, you know, this is probably the best day to go and buy them, especially if you can do a little bit of trading or buy some FIFA points or something like that. And yeah, hopefully it should be good. So without further ado, let's go and jump underway with the whole, I think it's like 20 segment list we'll be covering on when to buy. So here is the list of players. As I say, it was made when I was streaming, so hopefully you do have a nice array of players. And on top of that, we also have multiple sections under one player. For example, you'll see icons there. We have icons, we have prime and primer icons, and then we have new icons. So hopefully we've gone in some decent depth even within like individual sort of player cards. So without further ado, we'll cover it. All research will be from the first 3 months, apart from icons, which is the first 5 months, because if you didn't know, icons kind of did a bit of a madness last year where they kept rising all the way up until December, which I'm pretty sure was basically just until Team of the Year was dropped. And yeah, they kept rising. Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. That's it'd be an interesting one to look at. But yeah, first of all, we've got icons. These are not new icons, because new icons are way more hype than old icons, which means they have a kind of a different pattern as such. And they're also not prime and primer icons, because these are basically top-end foot champs cards, so there are a lot more. So these are going to be covering everyone from, let's say, a Cam Blanc all the way to a middle Henri. So there'll be some high-end cards of millions, but then there'll also be some of the plebs who are like 3 to 400k. And so what you can basically do is you can use that and go, well, my player, let's say you're looking for like a middle Veron, go, well, he's quite like Decide, his price is quite like Decide. Okay, I'm going to go off of what Decide was to see what Veron was. Also, another thing I will be keeping in mind when players got, let's say, SBCs. So let's say there was an icon SBC and they released a, I don't know, let's say a Best, a Ferdinand, and so on and so on. I will keep that in mind and obviously comment on that. Likewise with Team Weeks and so on and so on. But first off, yeah, we got icons, but not new or primer icons. Second, we got Team Week 1. Actually, a really interesting one. Obviously, Team Week 1 is always very hype. People are like, oh, well, it's not on the game for very long. I think Team Week 1 is early access and not actually full release. So yeah, it's got an interesting one. I've already had a little look at the graphs, so that should be a really interesting one to cover. Of course, it depends who's in Team Week 1, but last year had some really interesting sort of like investment opportunities and yeah, buying chances. Then we have Team Week 1 to 10. It's quite an interesting one because of course this does get re-released on Black Friday, which I think is the last weekend before December. So that'll be an interesting one to cover, how those prices rise and then obviously get destroyed when they're all re-released with the best of Team Week, which is something new as of last year. They got one to watches, really interesting one. You know, there's actually a really interesting one to watch cycle. I don't think I'll cover it in the investing video, but I might cover it in a trading video. Basically, it's the cycle that one to watches follow. I'm pretty sure one to watch is actually a massive turning point of last year. We then got high cost league SBC players. These are, you know, obviously expensive silvers that I use for the league SBCs as such. I think last year we had the Liga NOS and the EFL, those dropped at the beginning. And as a result, I think there are a fair few expensive Aston Villa players and Middlesbrough players. So We'll be covering silvers like that. We'll see how do marquee matchups affect them, how do generic SBCs given off Electrum and mix packs affect them. So that'll actually be an interesting one to look at. We then have got the likes of top of the price range players. I basically extinct players. If you guys remember last year, we had the likes of Davison Sanchez, we had the likes of Promes, we had the likes of, I think, Lucas even, because he got his POTM. We basically had a bunch of players at the beginning of the game that were extinct just due to mad sort of demand. So they'll be a really interesting one to look at, because I've actually had a little look at them, and you have players like Ndopia who went extinct and then just completely dropped off. But then you have players like Davison Sanchez. 10k was way too cheap for Davison Sanchez, and I think we're up to like 50, 60k. So they'll be really interesting players to look at. We then have got top tier golds. Obviously, we're looking at Hazards, Ramoses, you know, your top end players, maybe Courtois, De Gea's. See how they did at the beginning of FIFA. Then move on to the meta golds, the Beast FCs, the Martials, Gabriel Jesus's, Mendy's. I've actually already got my 10 players for this one, which I'll show you a little bit in a sec. But yeah, I'd say some really interesting stuff to look at. I think the meta golds will cover probably quite a lot of the players you guys want. Your 20 to 100k kind of start teams. I remember the days when start teams used to be 20k. Nowadays, start teams are multiple of hundreds of k. You know, 3 to 500k. If you put FIFA points on, probably even 1 million your start team is, which is insane. Then move underway Scream. Not gonna lie, I thought last year they kind of flopped FIFA 19 as. They kind of flopped Scream a little bit. I remember using Tyrone Mings for he had 99 pace and 99 physical. No, he didn't. He was absolutely woeful. So hopefully Scream is decent. And as I say, we'll have a look at different players of that. Obviously, players like Forsberg, who are basically abandoned all game. Probably nothing interesting to look at him. But the players like Mings, I think Deeney had some interesting cards. We'll have a look at when players had certain boosts and see what that did to prices. Then move underway Prime and Primer Icons. Now, controversially, don't think we're actually going to get Primer Icons at the beginning of FIFA, because in multiple ads now they've said, I think they said like not all versions are released at the beginning of the game, or something along the lines of that, in the Zidane ad and I think the SEN ad, when they've been advertising their icons. So yeah, might not even get Prime Icons. We'll talk about Prime Icons and basically your highly demanded FUT Champs icons and just see how they did, and even compare them to normal icons, which should be interesting. We then got SBC rating fodder. SBC rating fodder is 84 to 89 plebs. You know, players like Tony Cruz, which have no more demand than just being used in an icon SBC or a POTM or something along the lines of that. So that'll be an interesting one to look at, because I remember the beginning of the game, I think it was like Trigosaurus was literally going for like literally discard, and he was obviously later in the game he's been a pretty decent SBC fodder player. Then move underway with non-informed versions and Team Week 1 on Twitch. These are really interesting. Now, if you guys remember Yao Cancelo, he got a Team Week 1 and then he got one to watch, which was insane, because that means that his gold card wasn't in packs for like 15-16 days. And what we're going to do is we're going to see how did golds who in Team Week 1 and 1 to watch do. A really interesting one. I remember Richarlison actually didn't go up whatsoever. He wasn't in packs a week and he stayed about 700-800 coins, or I think it might have even been like a 1 or 2k, something like that. Like, there was no money in him whatsoever. So be interesting to look at those. I say these are basically players who won't be in packs, although it only been in packs for a week, because 1 week after them being in packs, they've got a Team Week of 1 to watch, which means obviously their gold card isn't in packs when their 1 to watch is. Then move on to our POTM investments. Talking about Lucas earlier, just talking about how fast they rise. Of course, there was a lot of hype around Lucas at the beginning of the game, because people thought, obviously he did get the first POTM, but people thought you'd need his gold card for his POTM, which meant he went 20k, and then as soon as he wasn't POTM, I think he went all down to like 2-3k. So that was really interesting. We got old transfer left in the game. Good old EA, and as you guys know, the old Spanish seem to have the game. So basically, EA have pre-transfer cards, so you have like a Inter Milan Icardi, even though he's playing for PSG. And last year, I remember we had the likes of Quincy Promes from Spartak Moscow, even though he was playing for Sevilla. So, that's an interesting one to talk about at the beginning of the game. How do they progress? The thing with those is I don't think they update the price ranges that much, so I don't know if there was too much early game, but still an interesting thing to go and look at and see, if there isn't a Icardi, is it worth that investment? We then move underway with high-rated non-rare gold. So we're talking about the likes of Farmans, we're talking about the likes of Rodri's, Koscielny's, players that are basically using SBCs. I kind of always say high-rated non-rares, some of the rarest cards in the game, because non-rares are way rarer than rares, as mad as that sounds, especially if we're talking 82 rating. And then on top of that, they're obviously quite nice for SBC fodder and that lot. So, next we got is top-tier silver players. If you guys remember Cristiano, he plays in the was it the Saudi League, if I'm not wrong? Normally a silver that's extinct. Really interesting one as well. Matt Doherty was 6-7k all game without anything being needed for the Watford SBC, just due to being a Premier League decent card, which is quite interesting. So a lot of top tier silvers. They got SBC players. SBC players basically consist of the likes of Zabaleta, Mera, guys who are like 3, 4 and above K at the beginning of the game. If that's being used for advanced SBCs or whatever, well, basically is being used for advanced SBCs. Talk about how those react with the likes of rewards, because I remember I made quite a lot of money on them last year. We're actually not going to do consumables, just because there is no data on consumables. All data is when you grab from Footbin, but Footbin doesn't have price graphs for consumables, so there's not really too much you can do with that. They got UCL cards. Mad money to be made on UCL cards. If you guys don't, well, I mean, if you don't remember, basically UCL cards are cards that at least you have +1 on every stat. They've got so rare. I think they released like one SBC, flooded the market, and then everyone became so rare. And there's so much money because there was like some mad hyperinflation on them. So really interesting cards cover. And then as I guess we end how we start. Icons again, but these are new icons. I'd say Gerrard, the amount of hype around Gerrard last year when he was released, insane. Don't think he looked like anything special. Of course he's got that English legacy and that Liverpool legacy, but yeah, I don't think his card was anything in special. You're not really seeing it being used in FUT Champs teams left, right, and centre, but it's a new icon, so there's a lot of hype. So of course you can expect to see that around Zidane, Kaká, any of these brand new icons. Now, what we're going to do now is going to move underway the format of what we're going to be comparing the players. Now, I'd say this is the trading guide. If you haven't already, do feel free to check it out. It will be the top link in the description. I also have done a little series called 0 to a million in 7 days, and a lot of the trading methods, which there's YouTube videos for. Do bear in mind my spelling is absolutely woeful. Welcome to the life of a dyslexic. But there we go. So a little bit of trading right there. But if we scroll down to where I've actually started analysing players, we've got Team Week 1, which is something I've started but haven't finished yet. So basically each one I'm going to be doing 10 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, well there's 8 players done, so we need to do another 2 on there. But that's why we've only started it. But yeah, so the 10 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yay. So basically what I do is I'll put 10 players. I'd say they'll fit the criteria, which is a meta goal between 20 to 100k. And basically what I've done is, you can see, is I've kind of matched up all the graphs. You see the 1st of October is running down there all the time. So what I can do is I can be like, okay, very easily visually you can see, okay, well they all rose here. They kind of all dropped here. So what we can do is we can come to conclusions. We'll talk about every player briefly. Then we'll talk about how groups of players, I guess, we could group Jesus and Sanchez because they rose at the same time, they dropped at the same time, and kind of have the exact same sort of graph, which is, the beauty in kind of matching them up together. So, that should be interesting. Then, of course, what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of analysis at the bottom, talk about where there was hyperinflation, basically talk about the whole point of the videos, which is certain buy times of the players, and when you want to sell them, especially if we look at the likes of Dele Alli, who dropped from 30k to about 9k in about 2 weeks, which was pretty painful. So that's what we'll be talking about in this episode. But well, not the episode, but we'll be talking about in this series is buying and selling players in certain dates. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed. As what we'll do is we'll scroll back up to the contents, because what I'll do is if you guys have any suggestions of anything we missed, I'd say we shouldn't have missed anything because this was done all on the stream. Do feel free to drop them down below, or if there's anything you'd like me to prioritise, do feel free to drop them down below. As I said, I've already done like 2 or 3 of them, so you expect to see probably Team Week 1, generic icons, and meta players to be dropped first. But there you go, that has been the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you guys tomorrow with when to buy meta golds on FIFA 20.